All right, okay, so here he is. Give him a really very warm applause for Mike Coxius!
Yeah, hi, good evening. Yes, indeed, I'm a marine biologist. After my presentation, you can judge if I might be a fake scientist, I don't know. But yes, even we scientists, we sometimes just need to switch off our brain. And the best way to switch off brain and to relax is just to watch TV. And yeah, most people, they rather like to look at soap operas or new American series. But do you know what is my favorite program on television? It's a weather forecast. It's really fantastic. Every evening, I'm sitting at the edge of my seat and I'm just wondering what's going to happen in the new episode. But yeah, I have to admit, recently the Belgian weather forecast is a little bit boring. But some weeks ago, they broke into a really fantastic new season. It was great. They introduced a new character. Yeah. And this character was Irma, a real vicious one. Irma was the largest hurricane ever. Yeah, a really exotic, hot-blooded hurricane. And yeah, since then, I'm really into hurricanes. She's a big one, a big mama. Everywhere she comes along, she leaves a mess. Irma is actually the Angela Merkel of the hurricanes. And because I admire her so much, Irma, not Angela, I wrote a song for her. Irma. Oh no, oh no, hurricane. Irma came into my direction. It was a nightmare, not a blessing, yeah. Turned paradise from heaven into hell. Oh, she was the reason for my darkest day. I was just blown away, and she continued slowly, slowly. Despacito, global warming's coming, despacito. Trump denies it, al presidente loco. There's no fact alternativo. Despacito, global warming's coming, despacito. Maria hit me down in Puerto Rico. Too much dioxido de carbono. Despacito. Yeah, I'm now really up to hurricanes, really. Because they make my job much easier. Yes. Okay, some people are blown away on these Caribbean islands, but hurricanes, they also bring me corals. Yes, thanks to hurricanes, whole coral reefs are just washed upon the beach. Fantastic. Yeah, I don't need to do this extensive, exhausting diving all the time for my research. No, I just walk along the beach and then I can do my biodiversity surveys. Perfect. Okay, I have to admit, after a while it becomes a little bit smelly. But who cares? Huh? Who cares? Any job becomes fun when you can slurp a coconut cocktail on the beach. And that all for science, with the taxpayers' money. Great! But when I think about it, actually, I miss a little bit the diving for my work. I like to be under the sea, in a coral garden beneath the waves. High diversity, so many species you can see, but it's all destroyed by climate change. It is urgent, can't you see? Corals needs protection by you and me. I like to be under the sea, in a coral garden beneath the waves. And actually, I guess I forgot to switch on my brain. And I have to have a close look. Okay, yeah, so. To all you believers out there, when you think that global warming is the truth, you are wrong. You are wrong because in a scientific publication, it was proven that global warming is a myth. And this is published in a brand new, very exciting journal. The Journal of Alternative Facts. And they have the greatest editor-in-chief ever, Donald Trump. And he published a paper in that journal proving that global warming is a myth, with the title, "We have all the beautiful climates. Really, they are great." So, if you think that global warming is true, that would mean the ocean would get warmer and warmer, and due to that, we would have more and more hurricanes, and stronger hurricanes. And we will have an additional problem, which is called coral bleaching. So, before I explain to you what coral bleaching is, I will first of all explain what a coral is. A coral is a rather primitive, simple animal. It is basically a sac, and with tentacles around its mouth, which is at the same time its anus. And this is not too much different from some politicians. And that's why they talk shit. But corals, they found a really good solution. They basically have outsourced their anus. Yeah, they have zooxanthellae. These are tiny little algae that live in their tissue. I've got you under my skin. I've got you deep in the tissue of me. So deep in my tissue that you're really a part of me. I've got you under my skin. So, this is a really close relationship. So the corals give nutrients to the zooxanthellae. Don't worry, nutrients is just a scientific term for coral poo. So, you know, you might think, oh, these poor zooxanthellae. No, zooxanthellae are really smart. They take the nutrients, and then they do photosynthesis, and then they produce sugar, and this they give to the coral. So basically, zooxanthellae is making corals eating their own shit. I'm really thinking about it to culture zooxanthellae and then maybe planting them in the mouths of certain politicians. So this relationship between coral and zooxanthellae is somehow a sugar daddy, sugar baby relationship. And I was thinking about to set up a dating website, yeah? But unfortunately, these days, this topic is rather controversial and you can't do any advertisements about this on the streets of Brussels. So I had to skip that. But biologists, they would say, there's nothing wrong with a sugar daddy, sugar baby relationship. No, that's a mutualistic symbiosis. Politicians would just say, oh, that's a win-win situation. I would say, we are all in deep shit. So, if there would be global warming, then the temperatures of the oceans would go up, would rise, and then the corals would get very warm, become very warm. So that means sugar daddy becomes too hot. And you know what happens if sugar daddy becomes too hot? Sugar baby is leaving. And the color comes from sugar baby, from the zooxanthellae. So if sugar baby is leaving, then there is no more color in the coral, and the tissue is transparent. And then you can see the white limestone skeleton, and they become white. And that's why it's called bleaching. So it's a really very sad story. They skipped their symbiosis, and the algae was expelled. The coral then was bleaching and starved to death, so sad I felt. And so it is that later, when the symbiosis fails, the coral at first just ghostly turns a wider shade of pale, turns a wider shade of pale. So, and this is actually what is happening around the globe with coral reefs. They are bleaching and starving to death. And this is just because of these fake news conservative journalists, because they don't allow any dating with sugar daddies. And this is scientifically proven in an article by Professor Trump. And this article had the title, "Why These Retarded Conservative Fake News Journalists Are Just Jealous on Old Guys Like Me That Are Dating with Immigrants to Have a Little Bit More Color in Their Life." Okay, so if I would be a fake scientist, I would not tell you that these fake news journalists are the reasons for all these problems. If I would be a fake scientist in this global warming conspiracy, I would tell you all these problems with global warming and bleaching of corals and hurricanes is just because all of us are just fossil fuel drug addicts. I will try to go to New Hat, baby, no more fossil fuel. try renewable energy resources, no more fossil fuel. I ain't got the time, but if the corals will be fine, I will try to go to rehab, baby. No more fossil fuel.